A roux is the basis for a lot of sauces. It's the basis for gravy, it's the basis for the mother sauce bechamel. If you're making gumbo or jambalaya, you probably have to make a roux. And it's a really simple thing to do, and it's an easy thickener, but not a lot of people are confident about doing it, so I'm going to show you how. A roux is basically equal parts fat and flour. And so I'm going to make one for you today. I'm going to start with a 1/4 cup or 4 tablespoons of butter, and I'm going to melt it on the stove. Right, now that my butter's melted, I'm going to sprinkle in an equal part of flour. So I'm going to sprinkle in a 1/4 cup of flour into the fat, and then I'm going to start stirring. And I'm using a whisk right now. Some people say you shouldn't use a whisk, but I think it's the best way to avoid lumps. And so I use a whisk. And you can see right now it's bubbling up, and the flour is mixing with the fat, and it's still bubbling quite a bit. And you want to cook a roux for at least 1.5 minutes or so to get the raw flour taste out. Flour, when it hasn't been sort of toasted, will have this very strange pasty taste to it, which can make a sauce or a dish unpleasant. So if you cook it for just about 1 minute, you'll avoid that entirely. And there are several types of roux. There's a blonde roux, there's a brown roux, and then you can go even into like a chestnut or really dark roux. And that just means that it's the amount of time that's spent on the heat. It's how dark the flour gets in the fat as you cook it. And for something like a gumbo, you often need a really dark roux, which means you can spend up to an hour standing by the stove, and you want to kind of reduce heat. You don't want to burn it, but you can spend up to an hour standing by the stove, stirring it until it becomes this deep, dark, chestnutty color. But often for things like a cheese sauce or a bechamel, which is a basic French sauce that you can add cheese to make a cheese sauce, you're just going to want a blonde roux. So you're not going to want to take it past sort of just a flour and butter color. And the blonde roux also has the best thickening power. Because the starch in the flour hasn't cooked down enough to lose its thickening power. So when you add milk to make a bechamel, which I'm going to show you in another video, it'll thicken up much more easily than when you have a dark roux.